I would like to share with you a concept that empowers people and helps address a crisis of global proportions. I don't know how many of you are aware, but there is a tremendous need in our world. Today, there are 1.2 billion people who are either homeless or living in life-threatening housing conditions. In less than 35 years, that number is expected to nearly double. One only has to look at the need to realize the hour truly is serious. If the developing countries where the majority of this need exists were to use cement and fired brick in the quantities currently used in the industrialized nations, it would have a devastating effect on the environment. The production of cement alone creates a serious pollution problem worldwide. Fired brick production also has had a tremendous impact on forests throughout the world. For example, in El Salvador, it takes 4 truckloads of wood to fire enough brick to build one 30-square-meter house. The result of such practices is often deforestation and loss of watershed. Another environmental issue is the energy needed to produce cement and fired brick. Third world countries do not have the energy we do. The U.S. alone consumes 25% of the world's entire oil supply, and therefore many countries must consider alternatives. When viewing the embodied energy, that is, the total energy required to produce a product, we discover that earth blocks require the least amount of energy to produce of all building materials. Let me introduce you to a new concept that will support long-term projects, encourage short-term volunteer efforts, and empower local people to help themselves. It's an innovative solution designed to meet the need of affordable housing for those who cannot afford it. What is it? It is utilizing compressed earth block technology to build environmentally friendly, affordable housing through a micro-business that helps to build economic viability within a community. To many people, when you say earthen homes, they think of mud huts or even a cave in the side of a hill. However, that is not what we are referring to. There are many earth building methods, but adobe is the most common method of building with earthen materials in the world. Adobe can build a very basic home, but it can also be used to build expensive homes. In fact, some of the most exclusive homes built in the U.S. are made from adobe. Another earth building method is compressed earth block. Compressed earth can be made to look just like brick, and the truth is, you can do some marvelous things with compressed earth. This is a school in the Sudan that was built out of compressed earth block. Here in the United States, there are builders who specialize in building beautiful homes using compressed earth blocks. What makes this building process so exciting is the fact that it is so remarkably simple. It can be labor-intensive. However, the skill level required is minimal. Let's walk through the steps of making compressed earth block following a project in Juarez, Mexico. The first step is to quarry the soils to make the block. Once the soil is on site, it may need screening to remove larger rocks. After the soil is screened, if a mixing of soils is required to make a good block, the appropriate quantities are measured out using wheelbarrows and buckets. If the soil is dry, water is added and thoroughly mixed. Here we are using a labor-intensive method of mixing by repeatedly moving a pile of soil toward the machine. The soil is then loaded into the machine, and out comes a compressed earth block. Finally, the blocks are stacked and allowed to dry. Not only is the making of the blocks with unskilled labor easy, But the actual construction of the house is also quite simple. While the blocks are drying, the footings can be poured and allowed to cure. The footing needs to be substantial enough to support the heavy mass wall and should extend about 4 inches or more above grade to avoid moisture. The footing needs to cure for a minimum of 14 days, so this should be coordinated with the drying of the blocks. When the footing is cured, a moisture barrier, such as tar or other concrete sealer, should be put on the footing to prevent moisture from entering the wall through capillary action. One method of block stacking uses a mortar that is made from the same soil as the block. It is mixed into a very thin mud slurry and poured right onto the foundation and between layers of block. The laying of the blocks is quite simple. The blocks are of a fixed length and height. The wall thickness is usually created by the length of the block. Because the mud slurry is thin, there is no need for a skilled mason to spread the mortar and keep the courses level. Various designs of flooring can be used. Here a slab is being poured and troweled smooth. Doors and window frames are placed in the appropriate location during the building of the walls. The walls are kept plumb and straight by sighting from an upper string to a lower string that are both stretched between 2 story poles at each corner of the building. Once the wall is stacked to full height, a concrete bond beam is poured to cap the wall and act as a diaphragm, which provides additional strength by collaring the wall. In 3 days, with a team of high school kids, the walls of this house were built to full height. After the walls are built, the entire house is wrapped in chicken wire or metal lath inside and out. This provides significant lateral strength to the walls and strengthens the stucco coating. Next, the roof is attached using whatever type of roofing system is desired. On this house, a traditional truss and beam roof was used with a passive solar design. Finally, the house is covered with stucco plaster to provide a moisture barrier both inside and out. Stucco is usually applied in 2 or 3 coats: a scratch coat, brown coat, and a final color coat, which is pigmented to provide permanent color. Historically, building with earthen materials is not new. It has existed for centuries as a tradition on every continent. The earliest earth blocks were found over 10,000 years ago, and even today, the UN estimates 1/3 of the entire population of the Earth lives in some kind of earthen structure. Compressed earth block technology is energy efficient, environmentally friendly, reduces dependency on cement and wood, and can eliminate material transportation. This concept of compressed earth technology can be used to build a home, build a church, and build a community. But the time to do so is now, for the hour is indeed serious.